Mr. Blanche, your statements were outrageous and highly inappropriate during the closing arguments, is what Justice Merchan just told Donald Trump's lawyer moments ago after the jury left and after Donald Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, finished up his closing argument. The prosecution asked for what's called a curative instruction from the judge after Todd Blanche concluded his closing argument in the Trump criminal trial by asking the jury to think twice before sending Donald Trump to prison. Now, it is not the role of the jury to have any involvement in the sentencing process. So mentioning or trying to guilt the jury into incarcerating an individual or talking about sentencing during the closing argument is highly inappropriate. It is something that clearly Donald Trump's lawyer did intentionally. And one of the things that Justice Merchan said to Mr. Blanche as he was admonishing him and yelling at him is, Mr. Blanche, you used to be a federal prosecutor. You know these rules very well, and yet you violated it here. I'm going to have to give a curative instruction right now. Katie Fang was in the courthouse, and she was reporting on that. Tyler McBrien was also in the courthouse. He's a reporter who's there. He says, Justice Merchan chastises Todd Blanche, Donald Trump's lawyer, for prison comment as someone who's been a prosecutor and a defense attorney as long as you have, Mr. Blanche. You should have known how highly inappropriate and how simply not allowed that behavior is. Period. And it is hard for me to believe that that was done accidentally. I will now give curative instructions to the jury. Now, it seems that Donald Trump's closing argument was just an absolute disaster from beginning to end. Very, very weak from all of the reporters that I'm hearing from and from all of our sources in the courtroom. Norm Eisen, who was in the courtroom, discussed some of the missteps that Donald Trump's lawyers made, that Todd Blanche made during his closing argument. Now, one of the things that Todd Blanche tried to argue is that the absence of Don Jr. and Eric Trump on the witness stand, where their names appear on some documents and checks, should result in reasonable doubt from the jury. In essence, Don Jr. and Eric were involved in the conspiracy, and if they were, why weren't they called? Notably, both Don Jr., Eric, Tiffany, Lara Trump, Tiffany's husband, were all in attendance as apparently one of Donald Trump's tactics during closing argument was to throw his children under the bus, and in order to try to create reasonable doubt, say, why didn't they call the children? The children's name was on some of the checks. Throwing your kids under the bus to try to establish reasonable doubt, I think that is going to backfire. One of the things that Todd Blanche also tried to argue, as Norm Eisen reports, is that the reimbursements made to Michael Cohen should still be considered legal expenses because Michael Cohen is a lawyer, and therefore payments made, regardless of if they are reimbursements or for services rendered, should just be treated as a legal expense. That argument makes absolutely no sense. Norm Eisen reports that as Todd Blanche is making some of these ridiculous arguments, several members of the jury start looking down, and they also start looking down and away when Todd Blanche just stridently starts to yell, "That was a lie! That was a lie," about the existence of a retainer with Michael Cohen, or the lack of existence. And again, as Norm Eisen said, true, Blanche only needs one juror to try to hang this jury and cause a mistrial, but I don't think this jury is fond of Todd Blanche compared to Donald Trump's other lawyers, Emil Bove or Susan Necklace. Then one of the things that Todd Blanche tried to do is he pulled up one of the smoking gun documents that has the handwritten notes from Donald Trump's former chief financial officer Alan Weisselberg and Trump's former controller Jeff McConney, where it talks about the reimbursements to Cohen. It's like written how the reimbursements would be done, how you take the $130,000, you add the $50,000 payment to Red Finch, and you gross it up. On the document, you see it says gross up, but what Todd Blanche was saying to the jury as he was looking at him, it says, this document contains lies. This is a lie. This is full of lies. This is a Trump organization document created in real time by Trump's former chief financial officer and former Trump controller. Now, what Todd Blanche tried to argue about why these documents are full of lies and actually show that Donald Trump should be innocent is because these documents were not destroyed. This is, as Norm Eisen describes it, this is a really weak argument and inference that Todd Blanche wants the jury to make. Todd Blanche went to the jury. Why didn't Weisselberg, why didn't Jeff McConney just destroy the smoking gun documents if Trump was truly guilty? Why would they keep these documents to show his guilt? Why wouldn't they just get rid of him? I don't know. Maybe because that would be a crime, Todd Blanche. That would be a crime on top of crimes, and they would be sitting in the criminal defendant seat as well. Oh, wait, Alan Weisselberg is in Rikers Island right now after pleading guilty to another felony as well. So you're saying that because there wasn't further obstruction, that would show that Donald Trump is not guilty? I don't think that's a good argument at all. Then Norm Eisen reports Blanche is getting a bit lost in the details. There's too many slides. Several jurors are now looking away from him. And by the way, supposedly he was going to be focusing on the fact that Weisselberg didn't testify. There wasn't a lot there that Todd Blanche even talked about. And then Todd Blanche says there wasn't even sex between Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels. That's a lie. That is false. By the way, as Norm Eisen points out, nobody believes that. Why waste jury credibility on that? But as Norm Eisen says, Donald Trump's probably making him say that, but they were arguing in the closing that Stormy Daniels made up. It was all a lie. It was all part of an elaborate extortion attempt against Donald Trump, and no relations ever took place at all. Norm Eisen talks about how, again, Trump is getting lost in a lot of the details here. Some other things to point out as well towards the end of the closing. You want to end strong. But you had Todd Blanche focus on Robert Costello and tried to act like you saw Costello came in. That's the MAGA lawyer who was almost found in contempt by Justice Merchan last week. You remember that? What Trump's lawyer Todd Blanche was trying to do on closing was act like this was a good witness. And Costello said that Cohen was a liar and Costello was a very credible witness. No, he was like the worst witness ever. So that was all very strange. And then, of course, you had that moment that I just reported on where Justice Merchan admonished Todd Blanche and said, how dare you bring that up in front of the jury? You know better. That was frankly outrageous conduct by you. There will be an instruction to the jury, as our editor-in-chief Ron Filipkowski says, a slimy move here by Trump's lawyer Todd Blanche. Every criminal lawyer knows you can't talk about the possible penalties to the jury. Blanche knew this very well, but ended his closing with an unethical argument, and now he will lose credibility with the jury when the judge gives a curative instruction. Hey, even CNN is talking about what a bad closing this was from Todd Blanche. Here's what Jake Tapper had to say moments ago. Play this clip.
You know what? I mean, this is not as impressive as I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought he was going to present like 10 times that Michael Cohen lied under oath.
Yeah.
And like, here are 10 things that he did. And now he's again in the weeds on Karen McDougal. I can't believe Karen McDougal is part of his ending summary.
But 8 makes more.
Well, I don't know, Jake Tapper. Maybe if you just followed the evidence, you would know that none of the things that you were expecting Todd Blanche to say even happened. So as much as Todd Blanche wanted to just make up stuff, none of that was even close to being on the record. We also saw this happen moments ago as well. As Tyler McBrien points out, several men saddled with bags of McDonald's were headed into the courtroom. Apparently, Trump ordering McDonald's into the courtroom. Outside of the courtroom, you've got this Donald Trump flotation thing here that says thief, liar, traitor, molester. That's right there. TrumpMuseumOfCrime.com. That's outside the courthouse right there. Also, you have Lara Trump trying to raise money outside the courthouse moments ago. Here's Lara. Play this clip.
If this is successful, this is Banana Republic type stuff. And if they can profit off it on the other side, so can we. DonaldJTrump.com. If you want to contribute to help Donald Trump become the 47th president of the United States.
You've got Don Jr. outside the courthouse moments ago whining. Play the clip.
Right? Because he's been gagged. The President of the United States is not allowed to exercise his First Amendment rights in New York City in this day and age.
Then you had Robert De Niro show up. De Niro is a Biden supporter, and I guess the Biden campaign figured that if the reporters were there and they don't want to actually cover the campaign, but they want to cover some of the nonsense taking place, that De Niro would speak to them. And so here's what De Niro had to say. Play this clip.
Somehow he even got self-styled patriots to support a man who called for terminating the Constitution, and on January 6th rallied an angry mob to threaten democracy, leaving death and destruction in its wake. That's why I needed to be involved and wanted to be involved in the new Biden-Harris ad, because it shows the violence of Trump and reminds us that he'll use violence against anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania and greed. But it's a coward's violence. You think Trump ever threw a punch himself or took one? This guy who ran and hid in the White House bunker when there were protesters outside? No way. He doesn't get blood on his hands. No, he doesn't. He directs the mob to do his dirty work for him by making a suggestion, an inference. And his gang grovels and follows his obvious order.
And then after De Niro spoke, you had Jason Miller, Donald Trump's spokesperson, call Robert De Niro a washed-up actor. Play this clip.
And the best that Biden can do is roll out a washed-up actor. And don't worry, my remarks will be shorter than the Irishman. I won't make you suffer for 3 hours. But the best they can do is roll out a washed-up actor.
That's how out of touch these Trumpers are. You're calling De Niro a washed-up, like the biggest living legend actor, huh? Okay. And then you had Stephen Chung, Donald Trump's other campaign spokesperson. Here's what he had to say. Play the clip.
Make no mistake, this is election interference of the highest order. Crooked Joe Biden and his campaign are in complete freak-out mode. And that's why they've gone back on the word, and now they've gone in bed with a highly conflicted judge. And now they're making a political mockery of this entire thing. The fact remains that President Trump will overcome. He'll fight these charges up and down, and there's nothing to stop the truth from coming out. Thank you.
And then earlier, Donald Trump gave incoherent remarks talking about three-legged stools and how the stool doesn't hold up. Here, play this clip.
Jonathan Turley, a classic closing pitch by the lawyers is to use a physical object like a three-legged stool. If any three-legged stool is missing and any leg is missing, the stool absolutely collapses. Even a cursory review of the evidence shows that this case does not have a leg to stand on. This is a case without a leg to stand on. This is John.
Well, that's what we have for now, folks. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.